So let's have a quick market update here, guys. And it seems at the moment we are back down to this 61.8 Fibonacci level at around 6.9, and that's what we were talking about the other day, that we need to hold this whole area in here. And if we can now hold this level here and without falling too much below it, we should be setting up nicely for a move higher. So keep an eye on that. At least the risk reward here is pretty good. And then we'll see if there's some news coming out after that that maybe can support a move higher. In the meantime, there's this article here. It's kind of funny in Zero Hedge. I will post it at the bottom of the video as well, and where of course Krugman, I mean, he's one of these guys that pops up every few years with hilarious comments that is usually the opposite of what will happen. So of course he was against the internet back in the days, and there were some other comments as well that he had, and now he's also saying that cryptocurrency is just crap, basically. And so in itself, I mean, that's a positive sign, I would say. So this article goes through a couple of things. I mean, here they mention you know, the hyperinflation we have seen with fiat currencies over the last 2 decades as well. I mean, it's not like it's flawless. Venezuela and other countries as well where this has happened. In normal life, people don't worry about where the value of green pieces of paper bearing portraits of dead presidents come from. We accept dollar notes because other people will accept dollar notes. So I mean, that's what it's all about. It's people say cryptocurrencies have no value, but how much does a dollar note, how much is the value there? It's just because other people accept it. And it's a little bit like Roger Ver was saying that you know, if you have water bottles in the desert, that's a pretty valuable thing to have. If you're bathing in a swimming pool, it's maybe not as valuable. But so that's a little bit what it's all about. Custody, talking here about custody problems. I mean, Cyprus bail-in, we remember that, where the banks basically took all your money that you had in your bank account for no reason, really. So maybe central bankers around the world, you know, they realized they weren't able to control the economic destiny of the entire universe, and the next time some banks blew themselves up, they were going to be recapitalized with depositor funds. What else does it say here? Yeah, it's talking about wire transfers these days to send money. I mean, it's to this day, it scares the living crap out of me every time I have to send one, because it takes as long as a week just to find out that it has arrived, and nobody has any fucking idea where the money is. And it talks about here also the Fed. I mean, what he likes about conventional money is that you can create it with a mouse click, but well, you can't. The Fed can, the Federal Reserve and other central banks, the money center banks. That's a pretty sweet deal, right? If you own, run, and otherwise comfortably cozy with the bank or the Fed. And blowing up asset bubbles that have had one singular defining effect that will take generations to unwind, which is acute wealth inequality and the decimation of the middle class, which we have seen over the last, well, especially over the last 10 years, where these bubbles and blowing up the bubbles, you know, artificially holding the interest rates below their market clearing values over a decade, which is basically just rewarding debtors and to the expense of savers. I mean, this is what they're doing, right? So what about the normal people? Nowhere to be seen. So I mean, you know how it is now in your savings account. How much interest do you get for keeping money in the bank? Nothing. I mean, you're lucky if you don't have to pay to keep it there. It's in some accounts it's even negative interest rates. And so remember that when you see these so-called experts like Paul Krugman and others, when they're coming out of the woodwork saying something, it doesn't mean they have no value whatsoever. I mean, this is a guy here saying we're dealing with a guy who figured the internet wouldn't have much more impact than a fax machine. So his take on technology isn't maybe the best? Question mark. And yeah, it keeps on going here a little bit, and it makes some valid points. I mean, it's comparing a bit the cryptos with traditional fiat currency system, and so that's interesting. It's good to see somebody brings this up as well. And then speaking about the fiat currency system and banks, Jamie Dimon says JP Morgan will use blockchain for a whole lot of things. He says that he was bullish on blockchain tech, but shielded away from commenting on cryptocurrency in itself, saying because he was so negative on Bitcoin when it was a couple of $1,000, saying fiat payment apps are the biggest potential disruption to our business. Apparently in an interview, a July-August issue of the Harvard Business Review. Fiat payment apps. Okay, so maybe something to look out for as well. He could be right. So that's kind of cool though, that they're finally realizing maybe it has some kind of a use, and maybe there's one or two coins it doesn't like, but that's another story, right? And yeah, that's about it for now. And it's really just a price update, so keep an eye on the 7,000 level. It would be great if you could hold here and kind of climb higher and then take a little boom from here. And otherwise below that you have what is it, it's a 6.6 level, and we'll see what happens. Enjoy, guys.